Aloha and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about the network intrusion detection and the network intrusion prevention systems, which are known as NIDS or NIPS. So we'll start out with a discussion of the intrusion detection system, the IDS. An IDS is a device or it's a software application that uses sensors to detect malicious activity or security policy violations in your system. There's two different types of these. Number one, you've got the network intrusion detection system, which is a NIDS, and you also have a host-based intrusion detection system, HIDS, and they differ in what is protected. So a network intrusion detection system, it's an IDS that's going to detect a threat to your network. So it's going to use sensors, collectors, and aggregators to monitor and analyze the network traffic and detect the malicious network activity. An example that they have is Snort. For a host-based intrusion detection system, this is all about detecting threats to your host. So a HIDS monitors and analyzes a host running processes, the network traffic to and from the host, and it's also going to monitor the host log files to detect any kind of threats that it may see. So an example is a security information management system, a SIM that runs on a host that's considered a HIDS. So we also have network intrusion prevention systems, and that's different from the network intrusion detection system. So notice that the key difference is the D and the P. So the D is detection, the P is prevention. So a network intrusion detection system is going to detect the threat. It's not going to do anything about it. A network intrusion prevention system is actually going to block that threat to the network. So NIPS can take autonomous actions to secure a network, and it's capable of performing corrective and protective functions. So, for example, it can shut down entire network service that's under attack, or it can disconnect people that are connected that it doesn't think should be connected. So the problem with that is going to be false positives. So if you have activity that looks like it's a threat, but it's actually valid, valid activity, it will get flagged. So, and shut down. So you have to be careful about that, because if you're preventing things from working, you need to iron that out early on in the process. Try to figure out as much as you can what type of things should be allowed so that you're not, cutting out valid users. So remember that you've got the intrusion detection system, you've got the NIDS, and you got NIPS. Then you've got the host-based ones. So the two different types of the intrusion detection systems. You've got one for the network, you've got one for the host, but you also have the difference between detection and prevention. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the way you can deploy these. There's two different ways. One is inline or in-band, and the other is passive or out-of-band. So in-band versus out-of-band, when we're talking about that, what we're talking about is whether you're in the flow of the traffic. So when you're in inline mode, or in-band mode, you're actually, the NIDS is going to be placed inside that line. So if your traffic is going down this way, you put that device right there, so all the data is flowing through it. So that's called inline or in-band. Passive or out of band is going to be when you don't have, pardon me, you don't actually have direct access to you're not in the flow of the data. You'll have like a switch that may have a monitoring port on it. Let's say you have a monitoring port on your switch. You can plug into that and get a copy of all the network data that's going on through there. And by doing that, you can see it. You're not going to be able to prevent something because you're just seeing a copy of what's coming through. So you're not actually in the line of it where you can stop it. So remember that when you're in passive or out of band mode, you're going to receive a copy of the network traffic, but you're not going to be able to, you're monitoring it. You're not actively shutting down anything. And you use the switch port analyzer or a test access port. So you can't block, though. You're just viewing everything that goes by. On the other side, you've got the inline mode. The inline mode is it's going to be passing through there, so you can actually stop your network attacks that come through. Couple other notes here. You don't want to, so when you're managing these devices, you do not want to, you're not going to be attaching it in a way that you can, you don't want it accessed directly from the network, because then, of course, hackers will try to attack the box itself. So you want to administer this through a separate port on the NIDS itself. So you want to connect to it using that special port on a dedicated system. Some people talk about doing out of band, like having a totally separate network for just management of these devices. But usually people just connect to the device directly and administer it from a dedicated terminal. We also have different types of intrusion detection methods. We've got 4 different ones we're going to talk about here. We've got signature-based, we've got anomaly-based, we've got behavior-based, and heuristic-based. And these are important. You're going to get questions about this. So signature-based detection, knowledge-based detection kind of works the way virus software does. It's looking for signatures. So it's looking for what they call fingerprints or signatures. These are basically sequences that you're going to have used, that basically attacks are using. So it's looking for these patterns. And once it recognizes that pattern, it can shut down the attack. The thing is, we're dealing with things that it recognizes. So if you're talking about a zero-day attack, if you're talking about a new style of attack and it's not been, known, you're not going to be able to prevent it because, you're essentially, you're ignorant of that, so you're not going to have a signature to go by. So keep in mind that signature-based detection doesn't work if that isn't a known type of attack. Anomaly-based can actually detect those, and anomaly-based ones are going to detect it because they're looking for changes in normal behavior. So they're going to have a baseline profile of what normal activity looks like. So they're going to build this baseline activity, and they're going to flag any kind of network activity that deviates from that profile. So profile may include user, host, application behavior. There's a lot of different things that can go by there. And then anomaly-based IDS, it can prevent that unknown attack because it's looking at what is normal behavior. Is this normal? Is it not? And it can shut it down accordingly. Then there's behavior-based detection. Behavior-based detection, that's detection method that detects an attack by searching for a specific pattern that matches a threat behavior. So there's a number of known attack methods, and when it starts to see behaviors that it knows is suspicious, it will shut it down. So for example, that they give here is port scanning. So if intruder's getting in, let's say they've gotten access to the network, they're going to try to move laterally. They're scanning ports on systems to see what's open. That's going to trigger this behavior-based well, not algorithm, but the method, and it'll be seen and it can be shut down at that point. The last one here is heuristics-based. Heuristics-based, that's a detection method that's going to be, it's kind of like the signature-based. It's going to use signatures, but it's going to be able to adapt as it goes. So it can modify those signatures based on the, what it learns in the field. So this one also can detect a previously unknown network attack. So that's the thing to keep in mind for that. And that is pretty much it for this section. Just remember, you've got NIDS and NIPS. You've got these intrusion detection systems. You've got the ones that detect. You've got the ones that that prevent. You've got to be inline if you're going to prevent. You can't be passive. So you've got the inline versus out of band, or the in band versus out of band, the passive versus inline. So you need to be inline or in band in order to do the prevention. And then the detection, it's simply going to let you know that it happened. Then you've got the host-based intrusion detection system. Just remember that that is protecting the host. It's going to be looking through all the things on the host to determine whether it's under attack. And then lastly, we talked about the different intrusion detection methods. We've got signature-based. It's looking at known patterns, can't find anything that it doesn't know. Anomaly-based, which is going to look for behavior that's outside the normal, and it can find those zero-day attacks. Then you've got behavior-based, which is going to be saying, hey, is that some dangerous thing we know? If it is, then stop it. And then you can also use heuristic-based, which is use the signatures just like signature-based, but we're going to adapt as we go. And that can also find zero-day attacks. So that's it for this section. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll talk to you in the next video. Aloha.